Networking is dead, connection is in. To demonstrate that, today I'm going to link up with a good friend of mine. He's a few minutes down the road. This is Thomas Domine. Yes, Tom. How's it going? Good to see you. Cinematographer,
Hey, man.
new dad, and all-round great bloke. He grew up in China, his parents are French, he speaks 3 languages, he shot music videos, commercials, and high-end TV. As you can probably tell, the two of us really get along. Together, we shot for someone somewhere who isn't us, and today we're going to talk about how we made it.
This is nice, Tom. This is very nice.
Isn't it? It's very sophisticated of us.
Man, this would make a great location for a music video documentary.
Yeah, we shot it right there.
Yeah, just over there. Is it July? I feel like it was July.
I think it was July. I think you're right. I think I remember wearing just Birkenstocks. And pretty much everything else was the same outfit. White shirt.
You're good at that. You do that thing, the uniform thing.
Yeah, man. My brain can't cope. I'm too autistic.
It's good though, because it means you don't have to make that creative decision in the morning if you just know what you're going to wear. It's your
Yeah.
uniform.
I still try though. I have been trying new outfits.
So the way that we met was quite funny. I posted something on my Instagram about a jacket that I dyed and you responded to it.
Yes. And I actually think my DM was, because you were asking about dyeing it. I had dyed a few things in my life. I've dyed clothes. I'm into clothes as much as I'm into the uniform. I'm into black trousers basically.
Yep.
And I said to you, they're part polyester, which struggles to take the dye. And that was the connection.
That was the connection.
First like,
That was the
oh,
first.
cool. And then actually, you know, it's funny because as spontaneous as it may seem, it was still part of a strategy for me. I was trying to move away from like doing the cold DM and trying to like just follow the people I'm interested in and I guess be interested. And look, networking is dead. It's like dating now.
Yep.
And that was literally what I was trying to do. The more dating thing is like you go on a date with someone, you ask them questions. What are you interested in? Who are you? What do you like to do on your spare time? And you try to find that connection.
I mean, I think it's pretty fair to say that if we met at a networking event, there's like a 99% chance that we would have not connected. We may
Oh,
have
man.
spoken,
No way we would have.
but I don't know if we would have connected.
I would have been so awkward. Those things are not for me.
Yeah, networking events kind of give me the heebie-jeebies. I can do it, but
They have value. I'm not saying they're useless, but for me, I know I look back now and I realize I'm so out of place. I don't feel comfortable. It's definitely my autism speaking here, but I'd rather be sat on a bench having a chat.
me too. So when we made this film, we'd never worked together.
No.
This was the first thing that we'd ever made together.
Yeah. It's funny because when I mention it to people who ask about the film, it's always received with it's the first thing you made? Really? Because I guess there is a lot of like, it's a very cohesive film. There's a symbiosis
For sure.
with the whole thing. It fits together, it works really well. It's a great film.
It came up a lot when we were making the film. Because on set, people were surprised that we'd never worked together.
I think the thing that obviously people don't know, which is why we're making this film, is that we put in the work. We didn't just rock up on the day with a couple of recce's in our pocket thinking it's gonna go well. We had met beforehand. We had done our prep.
it was a true collaboration because we built the film together from the ground up. You came to my studio, we rolled out some paper, and we built the film together. It wasn't like I brought a film to you and said, I want you to shoot this. It was, maybe we could do this. Maybe we could have this kind of transition here. Maybe we should work with this kind of material. Maybe we should work with this kind of lens.
And we have the blueprint of that in that the scrolls. the third missing ingredient so far was Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and Sam knew each other, so you had a relationship and you had an understanding of how you like to work. I guess logically it makes sense that him and I got along if you and I got along, but it's never a given.
Yeah, it's never a given.
And the fact that we took to each other and, you know, he trusted my input, and I think he also saw that I was open to like tell the story he wanted to tell. It was really a three-way collaboration, and it felt really rewarding. It felt like we were playing.
100%. When we first met, we went somewhere not too far from here, near my studio. We sat, had some food, and talked about how we wanted to make films. And I really remember that conversation because it was the first time I'd properly expressed my newfound sensibility when it came to filmmaking, about just being resourceful. Not because I don't want to spend money to do things or because I want to work at a lower budget level, but because it's never been easier to tell great stories and get them in front of people than it currently is today.
Yeah, getting it made is better than trying to get it perfect.
Yeah. I remember the first day, well, I didn't really remember till you pointed it out. The first day was kind of a disaster,
Yeah.
but I didn't remember that it was a disaster until you reminded me. Because it wasn't a disaster, because the things that came up that were difficult, that we had to change or react to on the fly, we were able to do so because we were just so on the same page from the very get-go. The first thing we shot on this film was an interview with a A-list actor, David Jesse.
Yeah. In his home,
In his home,
with his family around.
and he had a limited amount of time to give us.
And he was literally sat on a cushion in his garden.
And we couldn't shoot on the kit that we wanted to shoot on because
It wasn't there.
It wasn't there. The kit had to go to the second location, which in the second half of the day, we were going to shoot a whole music video.
Yeah. Yeah, so the backstory is there was an issue with the van, the kit van at pickup. Luckily, because the camera was alone, you had it in your car.
Yeah.
And because the Nikons were mine, that's actually where that decision of the two languages came up. It was like, okay, I had the Helios 44mm Dune lens,
Mayarakis.
which we were gonna shoot most of this thing on, but it wasn't there. So it just was like, okay, well, we're gonna do the 50mm Nikon, which I actually think served way better. I actually prefer that lens to the Helios. Not sorry.
Me neither. I don't really know what the difference is, but I'm not sorry either.
Yeah, it was a real moment of like, okay, let's stretch those creative muscles.
Because the decision that we had to make in that moment was, we don't have what we want. From what we do have, what feels right.
Yeah. So all I had, I think, when I opened our two boots were the camera, the tripod, luckily, my lenses, no matte box, no motor, focused on the barrel.
We were also late.
We were late, and I think there was a ripped up scrap of gold reflector paper.
Yep.
I don't think I had any neg, I didn't have anything. But anyways, the point is, we deliberated about waiting.
Yep.
I remember now. But we ended up just being like, we have to shoot because we had a whole music video to shoot afterwards, which was Under God.
Yep.
That's the one where where he finds the car with the loops. Which was a whole other
The whole other thing that we figured out on the
same
day.
Yeah. I don't know about you. For me, the focus is always that gut feeling. And don't get me wrong, I am a perfectionist to a certain extent. but I also like to try and trust my intuition. And I think that's what that morning was for both of us. It wasn't defeated like, well, it has to work anyways. Let's just do it because we can't do anything else. It was more like, yeah, this feels good.
This feels good.
This feels right.
This feels right.
And then David started speaking. And then, I don't know about you again, but for me, I was like, who cares what it looks like? And that's a DP saying that, but I know how that sounds, but you know, like, who cares?
But I think that part of the joy of that came from the fact that I wanted it to look good, but I wanted the story to make sense. You wanted it to look good, but you wanted the story to make sense. We were making a film that we both knew what we were trying to do. So that was the goal. That was the objective.
Yeah.
We didn't have separate interests. Our interests were aligned from that session that we had where we made the film essentially together. And then we just went about doing it.
Exactly. And also, I think one thing to point out, based on our connection and our desire to like not only be authentic ourselves, but capture authenticity within the story, I think that set the tone on set.
Yep.
I think that symbiosis created an environment and a feeling that allowed all our contributors to see the passion that we had for what we were trying to do. And I think because we approached it very openly, it meant that, yeah, they opened up to us.
And I mean, David really opened up.
And he was the first one.
He was the first
set the
person.
tone.
He set the tone. I think at a certain point in the interview, we're coming towards the end of chatting with David. He's been so gracious with his time. He's really opened up his whole life and some really valuable stories on his experience of being an A-list actor. And then we ask him, is there anywhere that, you know, means something to you? Because we need to film some B-roll. We need to film some supporting footage to make sure that, you know, we can cover over parts of the interview if we need to cut, so on and so forth. David leans forward and goes, oh, I know a place, but it's like a 10-minute drive. Mind you, we're thinking we've already used up so much of this guy's time, but he was there ready and willing to offer more time. I don't think that happens if we weren't very honest and open about how we wanted to make this film, and if we didn't come with authenticity first.
Yeah.
And the shots that we got after that were some of the best in the film. They really helped us understand the language of what those scenes meant. It became an extension of experiencing that character's creative headspace. And then we went out into the world and we went over to the place, this special spot, and we filmed him having a little prayer there. And it was just beautiful. It really went on to inform the rest of how we approached those interviews. And that limitation of having one camera, needing to cover with B-roll, didn't feel like a limitation at that point. It just felt like the right thing to do.
Absolutely. I remember feeling the first time we worked together, you know, I was really attached to the creative, but other than that, like, I didn't know really where things were gonna go. Put most of the money into the paying crew and paying for the project. And I remember at that point thinking, this is exactly where I need to be.
Same. My sets, what I want them to be like is I want a environment in which reactive creativity can take place. So what this film represents to me, it's an affirmation of ideas and approaches that I wanted to bring to life, but didn't necessarily have the balls to bring to life. But I think working with you really gave me that confidence to work in this way. And so much of that came from that very first conversation where we spoke about, like, why do we have to make films the way that we've been trained to? There's another way, there's a more equitable way, there's a more reactive way, there's a more creative way.
Yeah.
If we can find something to do that, let's do it. And then we said, yeah, sure, went our separate ways. Weren't sure if it was actually going to happen. Didn't take too long, became a reality. Thank you for getting involved. I appreciate you coming on that journey and just being down to make the film in that way.
It was It was a real pleasure. Yeah, definitely. It felt good the whole time, and so I'm really grateful for that. It was truly a great experience, and I have no doubt that you and I will do it again. And
I hope so. I hope that you'll say yes. You keep saying yes.
I'll say yes.
I mean, you're here now.
Yeah, as long as there's that creative and our connection, then I'll be there.
Yeah. Until we both sell out and do that massively boring mega shoot and realize that this isn't what we're supposed to do and go back to making true creative work. Hopefully that never happens.
Hopefully that never happens. It probably will. Who knows? Yeah.
I think that's a good note to leave it on.
Yeah. All these runners are stressing me out. I hate
Because
running.
of the continuity.
I just
or
hate running, and it's making me really aware of the fact that should I
No,
should I
man.
be a runner?
No,
is that the thing
no,
that
running
people
is
do
terrible
now?
for your knees. Get a bike.
It is terrible. Anyways, we're digressing, and
Cut
we
there.
literally have loads to do in the next 15 minutes.